1, 0. All engine running.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Can-Am Wrestling Show. If you don't know me, I am the Mark of the Masters, the man with the plan. Big Ray here to stay to talk some TNA today. I am joined by my Canadian compadre, my tag team brother from the north, my Can-Am Connection tag team partner, Mr. Andre Corbeil. Say what's up to the fans, buddy.
Peace, TNA Mechanites, tuning in for this edition, episode number 6 of the Can-Am Wrestling Show, right here, Tuesday night, 9 p.m. Yes, represent that flag well, my brother, on the Can-Am Wrestling Show, right here on TNAMecha.com. Andre Corbeil and Big Ray representing TNA style, baby. What's up, my brother?
Dude, we have so much, and literally so much to go over this week. We have rumors. We have basically a brand new total nonstop action impact program to talk about. Andre,
Plethora, my friend.
A plethora. The reset button has officially been pushed. Multiple title changes. I mean, Andre, new stars, and again, rumors, but we'll get into that later on. But first, let's jump into this week's Top 5.
The Can-Am Connection Show's Top 5.
All right, dude, so me and you talking off air, we figured that we collaborate this week. And if you guys don't know, I actually had a little bit of an issue with my throat. I couldn't talk for about a week. So forgive me for not being on last week.
That's what you get for doing all those Randy Savage impersonations, my friend.
Oh, yeah. And but me and Andre, we actually collaborated this week on our top 5, and it's an AJ Styles top 5 moments. Dude, who better to talk about? What do you think?
AJ Styles, my favorite wrestler. I'm happy for this top 5. And again, pertaining and relating to the top 5 on the Can-Am Wrestling Show, each and every one of you TNA Mechanites tuning in, interact with Ray and I on this show. Give us suggestions for future direction for this show, and we will listen to you, because this is an interactive show right here on TNAMecha.com, and I'm looking forward to this top 5. And yeah, this is only a top 5. Ray and I are going to do this as a tag team together this week. My friend's a little under the weather, and hey, I'm fine with that, and I'm sure each and every one of you tuning in right here on TNAMecha.com are fine with that as well. So start off with our number 5, my brother.
Well, Andre, before we jump into our top 5, and
Sure.
This is a perfect opportunity for you guys. You know, usually we do a 5 each. I want you guys to please, comment below here in this forum. Guys, let us know, what are your top 5 AJ Styles all-time moments. We're going to jump into our number 5, and we actually collaborated again on this, and our number 5 is AJ Styles named to the Pro Wrestling Illustrated top 500. He was number 1. And you know who was number 2? John Cena. That was in 2010. Why don't you jump into that, Andre?
Well, hey, let's give props up to your mentor there, Mr. Bill Apter. I wonder if Bill had anything to do with that top number 1 placing for the phenomenal one, AJ Styles. But I digress. Hey, anyone that reaches that number 1 top billing as Pro Wrestling Illustrated's Wrestler of the Year, and that was 2010 that AJ Styles reached that goal, accomplished that accolade, and hey, Bill, if you had anything to do with that, thank you, smart man, and he was the right guy at the right time in the right place. Yeah, AJ Styles, the phenomenal one, number 1 wrestler in the year in 2010. So yeah, number 5, that's our number 5 choice. You take away the number 5, my brother.
Well,
I'll continue on.
No, I got to tell you something, man. I mean, this is a year that I believe Sheamus was hot. John Cena was at the top of his game. I mean, there's so many WWE superstars on that list. right below AJ Styles. Kurt Angle, I believe, was in the top 10 also. But to have AJ Styles, the #1 wrestler, I think PWI actually did a fantastic job. And it was long overdue. I mean, AJ Styles had been probably the best professional wrestler for the last 10 years at that point in juncture. So it was really good to see him actually reach the pinnacle. I mean, you know,
Absolutely.
how special is it to be named the Pro Wrestling Illustrated #1 wrestler? I mean, when I was a kid, I used to always go to Pro Wrestling Illustrated, and I always looked at the top 10 lists, and that's how I used to follow all the other wrestlers. But anyway.
Hey, that's the Grammy Awards of wrestling placement. Hey,
Yep.
what
Pretty
can
cool.
you say other than that?
We're going to jump into our #4, and our #4 is AJ Styles ending Christopher Daniels' X Division title reign. This was Unbreakable 2005. This was a three-way between it was actually known as probably TNA's greatest match of all time. It was a three-way.
Absolutely, across the board, my brother.
I think it was AJ Styles, Daniels, and Samoa Joe.
Betcha.
What I remember about the match was AJ Styles and Daniels outside the ring, and Samoa Joe leaping over the top rope with that corkscrew, throwing all 300 pounds of himself on top. Andre, give us some of your impressions on this call.
Well, people that like high spot wrestling, that is the ultimate match for you to tune in and check out. And if you haven't checked out the Unbreakable three-way with Samoa Joe, AJ Styles, and the Fallen Angel at the time, Christopher Daniels, yeah, Unbreakable 2005, yeah, the main event. And not too often the X Division gets to main event in TNA, but this was a time that they swung the bat, and it was a grand slam hit out of the park. So yeah, that's our number. That's our #4 TNA Mechanites. Now we're going to roll on with #3, and AJ's first World Heavyweight Championship title win. He was a face at the time, and he turned heel, not only ending Jeff Jarrett's longtime run at the time, but he joined forces with Vince Russo. And Vince Russo, he was in cahoots with Jeff Jarrett at the time. So nobody expected when Vince Russo came in the ring with that silver guitar, everybody expected Slapnuts to go over and retain his title, but that's not what happened. Vince Russo saw something in this upstart kid and gave him that world title spot, that opportunity to, snatch it. And AJ Styles snatched it, becoming a heel for the first time in his career, and I loved it. So that's my #3 TNA Mechanite. Yeah, joining forces with Vince Russo and becoming his first, becoming the World Heavyweight Champion for his first time. So yeah.
Well, I gotta just to add on really quickly. AJ Styles again. This again proves AJ Styles can do it all. He can be a face, he can be a heel, and a lot of people really crap on Vince Russo for his time in the WCW, but I don't think he was all too bad. I hope I don't get a lot of heat, but I don't think he was all too bad in TNA wrestling. And what's your opinion on Vince Russo in TNA?
Well, I'll start off with Vince Russo in WCW. For me, my opinion pertaining relating to that, my brother, is let's go back to the old saying, too many cooks spoil the pot. And I think there were too many big egos behind that big grand old curtain in WCW. And hey, it is what it is. The company's gone. I'm sad about it. I'll always be sad about it. Hey, I was NWA, tried, tested, and true growing up as my #1 company. But I digress on that. And Vince Russo, when he came to TNA, had learned after the trials, the fails of WCW, he came into TNA a little bit more modest. And let's go back. We know that Eric Bischoff and Vince Russo did not like each other from their interactions and what happened in WCW. Sorry for the brain fart, everybody. But these two worked together in sync, in unison, when they were both at TNA together. And that shows that it doesn't matter. You can mess up at something, but it doesn't mean that you can't improve on it. And I think Vince Russo improved on what he did in WCW coming to TNA. And I don't think he did all that of a bad job at all. During his tenure, his time, under the tutelage of Jeff Jarrett and Dixie Carter and yada, yada, yada. So that's my thoughts on that, everybody.
Very cool. Now we're gonna quickly jump into the #2, and this is more my choice, Andre. I actually picked AJ Styles finally, overcoming everything that he's been through for the last year and so, so forth, actually winning the title, beating Bully Ray at Bound for Glory, and basically overcoming what we call it a year-long redemption.
Yeah.
Basically reestablishing himself as the face of TNA wrestling. That it's a huge moment for TNA, because if TNA is going to move forward, like I said before, they might have to go back.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
who better to go back with than AJ Styles? Again, you know, AJ Styles couldn't even contend for a World Heavyweight Championship for a whole calendar year. He actually comes back. You know, he's up against DIXIE. He's up against Bully Ray. He's up against the Aces and Eights. He's up against
Your
the old
favorite tag
team.
team was up against him.
I mean, he faced every adversity a professional wrestler could face, and guess what? Last week, if depending on when you're watching this, he jumped into that hot sports car, that Chevy, picked up the TNA World Heavyweight title, and a sign of FU basically to Dixie Carter, and drove off, dude. So for me, that is monumental. It is huge. It is a sign that TNA is moving forward, and AJ Styles' year-long redemption is my number 2. What's your opinion, buddy?
Bro, when he spun that TNA World Heavyweight Championship backwards as he squealed out of the arena, I freaking marked out. I really did. I thought that was a nice little touch to add on to the end of the show. Hey, and it was a storyline top-heavy show, so I'm expecting this Thursday night to be a wrestling-heavy show. You probably agree with me in that regard.
Absolutely.
And let's face it, there are a handful out there that didn't like last week's TNA because of the amount of promos and storyline build, but hey, this is after the main pay-per-view for the company, the biggest pay-per-view of the year. Check that. So I'm expecting a top-heavy wrestling show this Thursday. Yeah, from, hey, a great crowd in Salt Lake City. I got to say that's one of TNA's best crowds of 2013, bar none. Passionate, vocal, and props. I totally got to give props up to Salt Lake City. So, yeah, I really do. And like you said, like you started off, this full circle redemption story. There's another company that did a redemption story last year, and yeah, tearing him down and whatnot, still winning the Royal Rumble, but I digress. TNA did this properly. They tore AJ Styles totally down from the top to the bottom, and he had to start literally from the bottom. Not returning in one night and getting a title shot for the world title like a couple nights ago, but that's another story. That's another company. I digress. So, yeah, my number 1, buddy, or actually before we roll on with the number 1, I agree with you. I think this redemption story has been done right by TNA, other than the little hiccup of the fans not wanting AJ to be the tweener.
Right.
Hey, let's face it, the fans wouldn't let TNA go that route because the face of TNA is loved worldwide by TNA fans globally. And, yeah, he is the face of TNA, bar none, no doubt about it. Hitting the reset button, starting this all over, my brother. I can't think of a better person, like you said prior, than the phenomenal one, AJ Styles.
Now, before you jump into your number 1, I have to agree with you. Actually, I did a recap of the show at OneWrestling.com, and you know, I actually said it. I said, listen, you know, they're coming off their biggest pay-per-view, and what they're doing is they're basically building up what's going to happen from this point on. So they basically, yeah, there was a lot of storyline, there was a lot of on-air promos, but they were just basically setting up the next couple of weeks of events.
And it was done well, my brother.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I thought it was actually a really good...
take the production value away from TNA in 2013. Right. This man right here, Eric Bischoff, I don't know if you guys are seeing him on the screen or not, but hey, that's what the man brings to the table. And hey, not everybody likes Eric Bischoff, but hey, I'm with Easy E all the way. I always have been, and I always will be, brother.
All right, Andre, let's jump into your number 1.
All right. Becoming the first X Division champion, yeah, in Huntsville, Alabama, winning the very first ever X Division championship match, and ultimately putting TNA on the map in a whole. Let's face it, like I said already, like you've said many times as well, Mr. TNA, the face of TNA, the man that's put the company on his back and carried them for, yeah, 11 plus years, almost 11 plus years. So, yeah, I'm very happy. I think he's the one that put TNA on the map. Comment below, TNA Mechanites. Let me know, let Ray know if you agree with what I'm saying here. And, yeah, you think AJ Styles deserves to be in this position that he's been put in, especially after the year-long redemption from last year. So, yeah, when he won the X Division title and made that title as prestigious as it is, the division as prestigious as it is, and yeah, that's all I got to say about that. Go and look at old TNA X Division action when AJ Styles was the champ back in the day. Yeah, prime time, baby.
Good stuff. Well, Andre, listen, now when we started off the show, we basically said TNA hit the reset button. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to briefly talk about all the title changes, because you called it, Andre. You called it when we did our Bound for Glory pre-show, and you said that every single title would change hands, and it did. I mean, we weren't correct in all
Even
our
though
picks.
I was way off. I was
Way
in
off.
El Salvador, brother.
No kidding. But what the hell? I don't know if they do that in El Salvador, sir. But but yeah. So let's break down the different title changes. I'm gonna start off with the bromance, and number one, I still have. I'm a little torn apart because I definitely wanted Bad Influence to hold the tag team titles. I love them. They're my favorite tag team, and I think they're the best tag team in the business or whatever. Yeah, but the bromance with Mr. Olympia, and I can't even remember the guy's name. It's not even important to me. But the bromance. These are two young, talented guys with a hell of a lot of charisma. Now, when Jesse Goddard, I'm sorry, when he actually started, I kind of looked at the guy and said, the guy's got a good look, but he probably won't amount to anything. That's my honest opinion. But when he put these guys together, number one, Robbie E is not he's a young guy, but he's been wrestling for quite some time. And if a lot of people don't know this, that whole Jersey, all that stuff, he did that way before Zack Ryder ever did that. I don't know if a lot of people ever really know that. So people that say, he's biting off of Zack Ryder and he's making, he's the TNA poor man's version of Zack Ryder. Yeah. He actually did that gimmick way before Zack Ryder, and I think he's a way better in-ring talent than Zack Ryder ever will be. That's
interesting.
That's what I feel. But now you put these two charismatic, good-looking young guys together, and you have a good, young heel tag team to spark that tag team division where I honestly feel that TNA has kind of fallen away from, focusing on.
True.
And in retrospect, I'm kind of digging the bromance, dude. What's your opinion?
Well, I watch Ohio Valley Wrestling, and to each and every one of you TNA Mechanites tuning in, if you're not aware of it and don't watch Ohio Valley Wrestling, Jesse Goddard is playing double duty. Not only is he a member in TNA with Robbie E as the bromance, he's also a part of a team called the Greatest Tag Team Ever, or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah, the Greatest Tag Team Ever. So he's pulling double duty. He's honing his craft at a real fast pace. And I agree with you, my man. When they first brought him in, I was like, big brother, what are you doing, Dixie? What are you doing? But I digress. I retract that statement, and I backpedal. He's really impressed me, and more so than Robbie E. Now, you may not agree with me, but yeah, I like Jesse Goddard a little bit more than Robbie E. I think together, hey, they're
Oh!
Yeah, they're like coffee, cream, and sugar, my brother. They go together.
Gosh. Yeah, they sure do. All right, so let's jump into the women's the knockouts title. Oh, I'm sorry.
I also want to add to that.
Okay.
Bad Influence, your favorite tag team. Hey, they're the best tag team in the world. Everybody wanted them to win at Bound for Glory, and hey, they can win at any time because they're a tag team that can be implemented at any time, in any spot of the show, and they can put the straps around them at any time. And I believe it'll come, but I'm glad they're giving it to these upstarts, these charismatic upstarts, mind you. And hey, I'm willing to see where they go with this, and I'm fine with it, brother.
Well,
They're definitely charismatic.
Well, again, Andre, I mean, you mentioned this before, and I think it's really true that a Bad Influence, they don't need the tag team titles to be popular, to get over. They're already over with the crowd, and they're already entertaining. And it's good to have. You know what? I was really upset that they didn't win, but
I was so happy when my team I picked beat them out at Bound for Glory.
Yeah,
and
well,
that happened. I was like, come on.
I was actually not like, after watching them this week and seeing them in the ring and actually having them celebrate, and they're just so cocky, and they have just so much charisma, and again, they're getting so much better in the ring as a tag team, and they just fit together perfectly.
And I want to interject that Mr. Olympia, he's good on the mic. The cat's got charisma. Could he be the first Mr. Olympia to join Total Nonstop Action Wrestling? The guy's cut. He's big. Good on Mike.
Well, is he athletic?
Yeah.
We'll have to find out.
Yes.
So let's jump into the Knockouts title. Gail Kim actually coming out of nowhere at Bound for Glory and actually winning the title, but she did have Big Lady Tapa on her side. Dude, this is yours. Let's jump into this.
My island, my ring, bow down. And speaking of Lady Tapa, OVW, shout out to Jamin Olivencia. What's up, champ? From Big Ray and Andre Corbeil, the Can-Am Wrestling Show. The invite's still there, brother, so come on down. You're the next contestant, my brother. Anyway, I digress on that. I'm happy with this. I wanted Gail Kim to win, as I said in our Bound for Glory pre-show, but I just felt that Brooke was going to get the nod at Bound for Glory. She didn't, but I digress. All right, a lot of people have been crapping on Lady Tapa for being green. Hey, this woman already has quite the believability factor down. I think she could kick my ass, and yeah, what more could you want than having the best female wrestler in the world, Gail Kim, training you and ungreenifying you. So I think them putting, I think TNA putting Lady Tapa and Gail Kim together is going to fast track Lady Tapa to being a supreme in-ring performer at a way sooner date. So I'm happy about that. I'm happy that my girl Gail Kim is the Knockouts champion again. And like I said, she's the best female talent in-ring performer there is in women's wrestling. And she's probably the most passionate about it. She don't have to do this. She's married to a rich man. She's made a lot of money in her career. She does it because she loves wrestling. So yeah, that's my Knockouts little touch base on right there. Sorry for the brain fart.
No, it's cool, man. So, you know, I agree with you. Again, you know, it's like back in the day when WWE put Diesel with Shawn Michaels. Shawn Michaels was the perfect in-ring guy for Diesel or Kevin Nash to be with at that point in juncture. Kevin Nash, the big bruiser, you know, he had been wrestling for some time, but he didn't really become who he was until they actually put him together with Shawn Michaels, and you know, who basically, and at the time Shawn Michaels wasn't, you know, all there, but in-ring wise.
Do you remember the story? Do you remember the story of Shawn Michaels telling people that there were times that him and Scott Hall would be laying on the bed in their hotel room going, "Is your heart still beating?
Yeah.
Are you alive?"
Yeah.
"Yeah, I'm alive. I think my heart's beating still." And people crap on Jeff Hardy.
Oh, man.
Yeah, just something to think about. Hey, you know what? My dad was an entertainer, and the life of an entertainer, a sports person, a celebrity, when you're living out of a suitcase in a different hotel room every night, there's sex addictions, there's drug addictions, there's alcohol abuse, there's all types of things that come into play in the life of an entertainer. But that's a little bit of a dark area, and I don't want to dwell on that or dive into that. Just a little thing I figured I'd bring up for each and every one of you guys to consider. Yeah.
All right, very cool. So let's actually jump in to possibly your favorite title, I think, and it's the X Division title. And actually, probably one of your favorite in-ring wrestlers regarding the X Division, Chris Sabin, with the beautiful Velvet Sky. Andre, why don't you break down Chris Sabin's win and where you think that's going to go from here?
Let the pigeons loose.
What?
I didn't expect Chris Sabin to win. He was my second choice rolling into Bound for Glory. Of course, I had the same pick that you had. Stop laughing, Ray. I'm trying to serve it up all seriously here.
All right, go ahead.
Okay, we both picked Jeff Hardy to win the X Division title. It seemed like the natural fit, being that he's never held the title. It's a new division for him to interact with and work programs with. So I figured he was going to win. You figured he was going to win.
Right.
My second choice was Chris Sabin. I thought that Velvet Sky was going to get involved to some degree, but not in the way it happened. I didn't think she'd end up being as mad at him at the end of the match.
Right.
And, yeah, a lot of people are thinking that they may split or whatever. I think they're going to progress the storyline to the point, to the verge of Velvet giving up, and then she's going to do something for Chris Sabin that proves her loyalty, her love, her compassion, her passion for the man, and her support for the man most of all. So, hey, I like this heel turn. He's rolling with it better and better every week. You agree with that?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Pretty shaky in the beginning. Pretty shaky in the beginning, but it seems like Chris Sabin is running with the horses right now, and I like it. I really do.
Well, you mentioned before, I don't remember if it was on air or off air, but it's kind of like Macho Man and Elizabeth, and I'm not comparing Chris Sabin to Macho Man. Macho Man is one of the greatest of all time.
Compare them, because I've made the same comparison, my brother.
All right. Well, I actually like the whole kind of storyline with having Velvet Sky kind of being upset, not really wanting to get involved. She's the cutie standing outside the ring. But, you know, guys, the one thing Velvet Sky has over Elizabeth is Velvet Sky can kick your ass. So, so Velvet Sky is out there. I think I agree with you. I think eventually there's gonna come a point in junction where she's gonna she's just gonna defend her man. You know, she genuinely loves the guy. She's gonna defend him, and I think it's great for Chris Sabin to get some time to actually work with his real off-air love. You know, and what better way? You know, he gets a title run. He gets to hang out with his girl, and I think they're actually, the chemistry on air is actually really good. And yes, I agree with you. I think Chris Sabin as a heel, much better. His promos are so much more believable as a heel than they are as a babyface. I'm sorry.
Hey, and he's getting better at it.
Oh yeah.
He didn't seem like he believed his cockiness in the beginning. Now it seems like he's buying into his cockiness.
It's definitely getting there. But
I like it, and it's going to seem like she's going to part ways with him, TNA Mechanites. I swear, they're really going to sell it off to the very breaking point, the brink, the brim, that she's going to leave him. And then when it all seems like everything's in doubt, and poor Chris Sabin and Velvet Sky as a couple, she's going to come back to him when it matters the most.
All right,
remember Elizabeth coming back for Randy after Ultimate Warrior beat Macho Man, and Sensational Sherry was laying the boots to Savage in the middle of the ring? I was just a little kid back then, but when Elizabeth came out, saved Macho Man, I honestly kid you not, there was a tear in Andre's eyes.
Oh, yeah.
I loved Macho and Elizabeth, and I think they were the best couple in wrestling history.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Better than Baby Doll and Dusty Rhodes?
Oh, of course.
All right, I'm just throwing it out there.
Baby Doll was tough, though. She wouldn't stand there looking all dainty like Elizabeth.
She was tough, but she was also kind of a hoe. But anyway, that's my opinion. So we're going to jump in.
Hey, that hoe was jet flying and limousine riding, my brother.
Woo!
Woo!
But I'm going to jump into the AJ Styles World Heavyweight Championship. And again, I'm not going to really go long on this, but
okay, I will if you don't.
All right, it's fine. You know, AJ Styles is so good at what he does, and he's so not dependable. He's dependable, reliable. He's that go-to guy, and I'm so happy. And this is I'm really coming off genuine here. I'm just so happy to see TNA finally realize that AJ Styles is what he is, and he is the best wrestler on that damn roster, dude. And I'm not saying pure wrestler. Kurt Angle is probably the best pure wrestler, but I'm saying AJ Styles has been there from the beginning. AJ Styles has never faltered. He's never turned his back on that company. I think he deserves this title run, and I think he deserves to put the company on his back. And Andre, I know you want to get into AJ Styles. Right here at TNAMecca.com, there are a couple of articles, and talking about AJ Styles actually taking the World Heavyweight title overseas.
Worldwide.
Yeah, on Twitter he said that he would bring. I mean, on air he said that he would bring the world title to them, talking about the fans. There's a lot of speculation. Andre, take it away, buddy.
Well, AJ leaving with the title brings my big question to each and every one of you TNA Mechanites tuning in, and even you, my tag team Can-Am Connection brother, Big Ray. Yeah, will TNA produce a brand new version of the World Heavyweight Championship? In the absence of AJ Styles? Just AJ Styles, something to think about. Hey, TNA's big gold belt is gone if he's defending it overseas. So just something to think about. TNA's big gold belt, yeah, overseas. They're not going to have a title in the company. What's going to happen? I remember when Eric Bischoff came down on Monday Night Raw with the black briefcase with the WCW World Heavyweight Championship in that similar case. And yeah, we had a new belt. So is there going to be a new belt? Something to think about. Now, as AJ defends the title around the world, most likely it'll be in places like AAA down in Mexico. And first and foremost, I believe the Great Mutas wrestle one promotion in Japan, which I think it will basically end up being a TNA gesture to the Great Muta, and to get the Wrestle One TNA cross promotion between Muta and Jarrett together. And we've all heard about it, right? I also feel like AJ will use this title as leverage over Dixie Carter to basically try and force her into like bringing back departed talents, like Jay Lethal and other stars. Something to think about, everybody, eh? What do you think in that regard, TNA Mechanites? Comment below. Let me know what you think in that regard. So is AJ going to force her into bringing back departed talents? And also maybe imply or implement signature identity traits like the six-sided ring return and other things like that that gave TNA its identity? Or like I said, maybe we'll get a new title and Dixie will blackball AJ. Only time will tell, TNA fans and TNA Mechanites worldwide. So yeah, a lot of layers here. I'm very excited. And no matter what direction it goes, my friend, I'm all for it, my brother. I really, really am.
Well, you know, again, reported at TNAMecca.com and other websites, but they're thinking about doing pay-per-views in England, in the United Kingdom, dude. That's
best fans worldwide.
I think you mentioned this in one of your personal videos, and I haven't had a chance to actually mention this, but absolutely, I agree with you, Andre. The English crowd is just awesome. They are the best, most passionate fans, and nothing against my American fans, nothing against, and Canadian fans are just as nuts as the English fans. I mean, you guys really love your professional wrestling, and I think it is going to be so great to have a huge 20,000, 15,000 seat arena just full and having some of the best in-ring wrestling. My dude, I think it's going to be really, really excellent. So,
hey, Ray,
what's up, dude?
Special shout out to Dino Mitchell from British Wrestling Radio and my homeboy over there in the UK in Birmingham, Gavin Oxflesher. Special shout out to each and every one of you over there in the UK as well. Hey, tuning in right here on TNAMecca.com. One wrestling video, Andre Corbeil. Yeah, you guys are the best wrestling fans worldwide. You ain't kidding.
Well, before I jump into the next topic, Andre, I just want to give a quick shout out to listen. This is off the cuff. You don't know about this, but I want to personally send my condolences out to my boy out the Off the Rope show, ORTS show.
Okay.
He lost a big part of his life. A great on-air character in Smokey, which was his cat. And I can't go off on a tangent Smokey actually went off on, his cursing and all that other good stuff. But he was a really good. Listen, I know what it's like to lose a pet. It's a family member, and I believe his name is Jeff. Am I right?
Jeff, yeah, Jeff Schlegel from the Off the Rope show, Off the Rope Central. Yeah.
I just wanted to take time. This is the internet wrestling community, and the Off the Rope show is a huge part of it. And Smokey was one of the most entertaining parts. I just wanted to send my personal condolences. Andre did a fantastic video about that on his page, so I wanted to take time really quickly to offer my condolences to the Off the Rope show, Jeff. And hopefully you will get to see your buddy Smokey again, my friend.
Yeah,
very
absolutely.
entertaining.
Hey, you know Smokey was the biggest Mark Henry fan out there, eh?
He sure was, man.
Hey,
he
fool,
sure was.
you better like Mark Henry, fool. Yeah,
absolutely.
Rest in peace, Smokey.
Rest in peace, Smokey. We're going to quickly move on, my friend. And I wanted to touch base on Ethan Carter III. And I'm going to...
AC3.
That's
Andre Corbeil III. Hey, the world needs the Corbeils.
Listen, dude. Listen, that's hilarious. I want to hear from you guys out there at TNA Mecca Land, but really quickly, I want to give my brief opinion. So far, so good. I really love this kid in the ring. I love the fact that he's being hand-fed all these ham and egg talents. And Andre, I want to hear your opinion on EC3. I love the kid. Again, I love his entrance. I love, he kind of looks over his shoulder. He has the smoke, the lights. I think it's fantastic. What's your opinion, Andre? We spoke about this off air.
Well, AC3 Andre Corbeil III, he's the shit. He's got all the in-ring skills, all the ability. He's got charisma through the yin-yang. And hey, yeah, what can you say? He's smashing those jobbers, taking names, and representing only like AC3 can. Anyway, I digress. I'm just kidding. Let's go back here, Ray. Let's go back to the #2 show in the WWF days next to Saturday night's main event, which was their big show every Saturday once a month.
Superstars.
It's called WWF Superstars of Wrestling. Now, this was a show strictly of WWE characters coming out and beating the crap out of jobbers. This is how they built teams up like Demolition. This is how they built all of the stars coming in. And hey, anybody out there crapping on how TNA's booking EC3, Ethan Carter III, yeah, Michael Hutter, yeah, anybody that's making those claims that this is BS and blah, 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 think before you speak and go watch some past WWF product where it was Superstars versus Jobber. Barry Horowitz!
Oh,
Pete
one of my favorites.
Sanchez! Iron Mike Sharp!
But Andre, real quick, you know, with Ethan Carter III, you mentioned this off air, and before you forget your own thought, I wanted to bring it up, and the fact is that you don't want to bury the talent that you already have.
Absolutely.
So what better way than to throw a couple of the jobbers? And I got to tell you something. The last guy they put in the ring with him, Neville.
Dewey?
Oh my God, this guy was so awesome.
Did you know he was trending worldwide on Twitter?
Was he really?
Worldwide, yeah.
I would love to see a match between Dewey and Neville from last week. That would just be like two string beans in the ring, just beating each other up.
Gilbert versus Gilbert.
but dude, really quickly, like I said, the reason I wanted to touch base on Ethan Carter III is because again he's a young performer. Again, TNA hitting the reset button. He's becoming a focal point, and I think eventually, you know, he's gonna have to step up in opponents. But right now, I think it's a perfect way of building this talent. Now, Andre, there are a lot of rumors out there about TNA possibly going back to the six-sided ring. Andre, apparently in 2015, there's a show in Topeka, Kansas, and I actually obtained the actual seating chart.
Yeah.
And it shows a six-sided ring. A lot of us TNA fans have been excited, have wanted this so bad, dude. What is your opinion on the six-sided ring possibly coming back?
I'm very excited. Again, it gives the wrestlers more perches to leap from, more in-ring action. And they construct the cage, the six sides of steel, a stiffer cage. And speaking of stiffer, when you're comparing the four-sided ring to the six-sided ring, the ropes are a lot shorter on the six-sided hexagon. Hence, you have tighter ring ropes, which enables and amplifies aerial wrestling styles. That's one of the easiest things when you're just discovering a wrestling company for the first time. Check the tightness or the looseness of the ropes. The looser their ropes are, the less of an aerial organization or company it is in their presentation. So yeah, I like the stiff ropes. I like the aerials that it brings. I like the uniqueness. I like the fact that it gives TNA an identity in the United States. And yeah, I'm all for the six-sided ring to return. And yeah, I'm very happy, and I hope this comes to fruition, my friend.
All right, Andre, I agree with you 1,000%. And again, it gives TNA, again, its own identity. And I don't have to go off on a tangent, because the fact is that if you're a real TNA fan, if you've been watching TNA since early 2002, dude, you and I both know. I mean, when they brought the six-sided ring in, it just added something different.
Absolutely.
It's just a different look. And you're right, dude. You're right, man. Those tight. Have you ever run the ropes, Andre? I actually had the opportunity to run the ropes.
Yeah, I did a flip. I did a flip from the outside into the inside.
Dude,
yeah.
it's no joke. And again, it makes a big difference how tight those ropes are. And you know, springboarding off the top rope. Not that I'm a high flyer or anything like that. I can see you probably do. You're probably the high flyer of the tag team. I'm more of the power.
Power and finesse, my brother.
Absolutely, but I'm really excited to possibly see this now. Andre, speaking of rumors, and we're going to close the show out with this because I want to hear from you guys out at TNA Mecca Land, ladies and gentlemen. I know Andre was a little, I'm not sure you really wanted to touch base about it because I think you might just blow your top off.
I don't want to because I don't buy it, but we'll wait for my turn.
Andre, we have to touch base on it because it's out there.
Sure.
There are a lot of rumors, Andre, that TNA Wrestling, Impact Wrestling, the Carter family, is looking to sell the company, and some of the highest bidders include Jeff Jarrett, Eric Bischoff, Viacom, and the WWE. Andre, take us home. What's your opinion?
Okay, the last name you mentioned there, the WWE, let's face it, total nonstop action wrestling was conceived to go head against the WWE. Let's not forget how Vince McMahon fired Jeff Jarrett the inaugural night there after buying WCW. And this was a company that was built in spite of the WWE. That's the way I wanted to roll in. It's built in spite of WWE. So selling the WWE, we all know that it would kill any chance of having an official alternative. And I like Ring of Honor, but Ring of Honor is not going to step up into the #2 spot. It still needs a lot more work than that before it can even consider something like that. And they don't even have the television deal. So I digress on that thought, but whatever. I don't buy the WWE part of the story. This is, I'm not even going to mention the name or the main site reporting this, but this is a man that has a hate on for TNA. He's been reporting stories like this for a couple of years right now. I don't know what his beef is, what his issue is with TNA, but he's got a hard on for the company to die. All I'm going to divulge, all I'm going to say is that the man's name is Dave. So, enough of that. You can read into it all you want, but I can honestly say that if any shred of this is true, that who better than Viacom, Jeff Jarrett and Eric Bischoff. I think Jeff Jarrett and Eric Bischoff would be a better tandem than Jerry Jarrett and Jeff Jarrett were back in the original days.
Well,
the infancy, so to speak. So I don't buy the last part of that story, and that's why I haven't made a video on it. And I'm not going to make a video on it, but we had to touch base on this. Like you said, Ray, each and every one of you TNA Mechanites tuning into the Can-Am Wrestling Show right here Tuesday night.
Well, you know, they didn't mention one buyer, and I think they're out there. And again, I think I'd find this interesting. I'd like to know what you think. And I don't want you to really go off on this, but what about the National Wrestling Alliance as a buyer for TNA Wrestling?
Oh, the National Wrestling Alliance, God rest their soul, are so far removed from what it once was. And I know because I was an NWA guy all the way. Jim Crockett Promotions absolutely has to be my favorite promotion of all time if I had to pick one. Sorry, TNA fans, but that's just the way it is. This was a company that led in wrestling for 60 years.
Oh, yeah. Gold
Standard in wrestling, no matter what any other organization wants you or leads you to believe. That's just a fact. But the NWA, they've become where they're at right now, they're just too small. Albeit, they have a lot of different organizations still under the web, but I just don't see that as a possibility. I think TCW has a better chance at growing than the current NWA does. And it's sad that I say that, but it's true. So TNA, it's the alternative, people. If you're not a big fan of TNA, that's fine. Nobody asked you or forced you or said you had to be, but facts are facts. If Vince McMahon wins the war, wrestling's going to die, everybody.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, you can see us here every single week at www.tnamecha.com. This is the Can-Am Wrestling Show. Ladies and gentlemen, we love doing this, and I love doing this. I always say this. I would do this for a living, but if I can, I would do it anyway. Why? Because I love talking wrestling. And my good friend Andre, you always say...
Yeah, we're all in this for one thing, wrestling. Peace, and thank you for supporting TNAMecha.com, Andre Corbeil social media, Big Ray Show, and OneWrestling.com. Yeah?
We'll see you next week, guys. Peace.